So, Mufti, I understand you've been self-isolating. Was this for 7 days, 14 days?
Well, actually, when I returned from Australia, I actually self-isolated for 14 days. It came to an end a few days ago, but we went straight into the national lockdown that was declared by our government. Alhamdulillah, I have come out of the house. I did go to meet my parents, and it's just now we come out for necessity only.
So, during this time of isolation, normally you're here advising us, but you yourself, how was it during this time? How are you feeling?
Well, actually, to be very honest with you, I have right at the beginning, if you know, there was a little clip of mine that's still available on YouTube where I was complaining of a little scratch on my throat. But what I definitely have to say is that it was a long journey of about 30 hours coming from Sydney to Perth, Perth to Johannesburg, Johannesburg to Harare. It was just something that was part of that journey. However, I had started a little bit of a home remedy dealing with symptoms, which I've been encouraging everyone to do. Just home remedies to deal with symptoms. And mashallah, the very next day I was okay, and I've been okay ever since. And I've been quite active online and doing the whatever else I have to do, keeping myself very busy at home, helping out in the house, having a routine through the day, getting up for Fajr, and so on. So mashallah, it's been quite good. I think one of the most important things that I've learned to appreciate is family, subhanAllah. I pray for those who are alone and lonely, but it's times like these when you realize how big a role your loved ones play in your own life, especially when everyone is in crisis. Right now, a lot of people have a lot of anxiety, and people are going through difficult levels of mental illness, and so much is happening. And I think we need to talk more about hope than fear, because to be honest with you, alhamdulillah, there is so much beyond corona. Life carries on, mashallah.
Can I ask something? Yeah. It's Tahir Beg here. First of all, I'm a big fan of yours, so I'm very pleased that we are sharing the platform together. But more importantly, on a personal experience, I mean, you have been sort of compelled to confine yourself, maybe at home. Normally, you're traveling out and about. How does it feel to be sort of, in a way, in a self-imposed exile?
Well, it's very difficult. You need require a lot of discipline and a lot of willpower, and you need to believe that every day is a beautiful gift of Allah. I was drinking a little bit of water just now, and I was tasting it and saying, Ilah al-Alameen, you've given us such beautiful water to drink, and we've never taken the time to actually thank you for the fact that we have water to drink. And I'm thinking, every ni'mah of Allah, it's now time to ponder over it. It's okay if I cannot move. And you rightly say that I normally travel so much. So for me to be at home this long is something unprecedented. And I guess COVID itself is unprecedented. So alhamdulillah, drastic measures have to be taken in drastic situations. And alhamdulillah, I've been enjoying it. I've really, I've got a very big family, so I'm only with a part of my family, alhamdulillah. And really, I've been keeping myself occupied, trying to make the most of the change. And I just want to quickly remind everyone, we must embrace the change rather than become upset with it. Look at myself. I mean, now we're online. I speak to more people. I've decided to instill hope in the hearts of people by going live online, talking to anyone across the globe randomly. And I find that it has really made a massive change. And people are so happy. They look forward to it, and they're excited. At the same time, I've been giving positive messages, and I've been trying to actually use all the technology at my disposal to reach out to people, speaking in a positive way. Yes, when I want to throw in a strong message, I do it in a manner that's very light, because people already have a lot of stress on their minds. The last thing they want from a person like me is to give them more stress. So, mashallah, I've been enjoying myself. It's a whole new ballgame, and I'm embracing it quite well. And in fact, I'm becoming so used to it that I'm already planning for Ramadan and deciding what's going to be happening. Although, we've been told we may or may not be under lockdown in Ramadan, but I'm just going to take it as though we are, and let it be a Ramadan with a change in history. May Allah make it easy for everyone. Ameen.
MashaAllah.
That brings me on to my next question, Mufti. What advice would you give to those who are about to enter Ramadan, inshallah? Because Ramadan is literally knocking on our door. So, what advice would you give to the viewers at home, what they can be doing in Ramadan, especially because it's very likely, especially in the UK, it's likely that we may still be under lockdown. So, what advice would you give us?
You won't believe it that, this is probably the best Ramadan we're going to be having in terms of preparing for it and being in it with its uniqueness, which means it's going to be different. But it's the best in the sense that seclusion in Ramadan is one of the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ to introspect, to meditate, to think about the greatness of Allah, to expand one's knowledge, to learn the Quran, to read it. I think we should start from now getting used to that routine. It's like an i'tikaf of a different nature. And it's an opportunity given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I really think if we make the most of this Ramadan, we will come out completely changed in a positive way, closer to Allah, closer to our loved ones, taking life more seriously. The small things that we took for granted will become very, very appreciated. And the little things that we made a fuss about would actually become so diminished because they're so irrelevant. Life is very short. No one knows who's going next and no one knows when we're going to go. But a blessing of Ramadan and an opportunity of secluding oneself, I think it would actually give us something amazing. Look at the i'tikaf that people engage in the month of Ramadan in the masajid. This time, it may not be possible exactly that way, but mashallah, we're already in a certain type of a seclusion, and I think we need to make the most of it. May Allah help every one of us. The routine that we make for ourselves will actually determine whether or not we're going to be benefiting from this month, and I pray that we do, inshallah.
MashaAllah. It's a really positive message that we are getting from there. Gives us a positive vibe. So whatever this is from Allah, and we have to make the best out of it. And as you say, whether it is Ramadan coming up, let's use this as an opportunity. MashaAllah, yes.
And so, Mufti, you've seen life in the UK. Some of us, or actually many of us, we haven't seen life in Zimbabwe. Tell us, what is lockdown in Zimbabwe like?
Well, the challenge we face is there are a lot of people living below the poverty line, and they are hand-to-mouth people who earn every day and then eat whatever they've earned through the day. To lock them down is really difficult because it actually stops their income, and therefore they find it difficult to eat. We were just planning today how we want to feed 15,000 people and over a period of time. But the logistics, we require police clearances, various other things, the health and all the other restrictions in place. It's not easy. But that is why we have learned a little bit from South Africa, even from the UK, a little bit. And our government is trying its best, even though the cases are not so many yet. But because we've been fortunate that everyone else had it before it came to us, we've learned a thing or two, and we've been in lockdown earlier than you guys, for example. So I pray that helps the situation, flatten the curve, and at the same time, give people that opportunity to learn from the examples of the bigger nations that have struggled. But we have another bonus, and that is we plant a lot of our food in our own yards at times, the tomatoes, the spinach, the onions, and a lot of the things we would require to survive. In fact, in our greater yard, we have mangoes and strawberries, we have apples and granadillas, we have avocados, we have maize, we have coffee, you name it. We've got so much. We've even got a lot of the spices, the thyme and so many other things. In fact, my mom was telling me this evening, we've got so much of this fresh mint, please take some. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is from my own yard. Amazing. So it's very different from the UK. Each country has been blessed by the Almighty in certain ways, and each country has certain things that they have as challenges. You guys have different challenges compared to us. but we're also gifted in a different way, mashallah. We have a lot, mashallah. And I just want to pray for those who are struggling to make it because of their salaries and because of them not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow. Don't worry, Allah is with you. Let's live every day for the day, and let's try our best to look forward to the next day and make the most of it. Let's reach out to one another and help each other. This is the time of giving. The wealthy companies, the landlords, the people who are in a position of giving, please give, because this is the time we need you in history. In our lifetime, I don't think meaning I know we haven't seen times like these, but I don't think we will see times like these in the future once this is done. Allah knows best, but it is the time to spend what you've earned on people around you, because I don't mean, give away everything, but I do mean reach out in a way that you help those who have less than you. Look at the prophetic times. Our beloved Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet of Allah, he went through great struggles. And I was sitting reading the ahadith, to say 3 months passed and they only had water and dates. That is so inspiring. He was the most loved unto Allah. 3 months passed, they had water and dates. Did they complain? No. Did they ever, feel like they were missing out on something? No. Look at Shi'ab Abi Talib in Mecca. 3 years they struggled and they were eating the leaves of the trees. Did they complain? No. So this is a lot that we can be inspired by.
Jazakallah. Can I ask one more question? Would you recommend, Mufti Sahab, that, because of what you're saying, the situation not just in Zimbabwe, in other parts of the world as well, would you recommend that people start giving their zakat now? Because traditionally, Muslims tend to wait for Ramadan. But if the need is now, should they not be giving zakat now? And will there be equal barakah in that?
I have actually released a video in this regard just yesterday, and maybe you might want to play that a little bit later, connected to exactly the same topic, that the need at the moment is greater than the virtue. What that means is you have two things. One is the desperation and the need right now, and two is the virtue of giving it in Ramadan. So if you do have your zakat ready, to be able to give it where it is more needed would override the virtue of giving it in Ramadan. And your reward would be equal, if not actually more, because you are reaching out to the current need. When someone is dying, you cannot say, let me wait for Ramadan to be charitable. You have to save the life. So if you've saved the life, Allah will give you the reward more than having given in Ramadan, because He knows that your heart was waiting for Ramadan to come, so the reward could be multiplied. Allah will multiply it even further. So this is a very, very important matter, because please compare the two and prioritize according to Islam. We have been taught to prioritize based on the necessity. The need is now, and the virtue is always something that follows necessity. I cannot claim virtue and delay a need. I hope you understand that.
Yeah, no, I think you've made it very, very clear. It's very useful. A lot of people will benefit from your good advice, Mufti, as usual.
Mufti, Jazakallah khair. That was cracking advice. You're doing a cracking job at cracking nuts as well. We've all seen the video. Jazakallah khair for your time.
Cracking as well, mashallah.
Jazakallah khair. We'll speak to you soon, inshallah. Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.